Boys, Melbourne Cup. Let's do it. Special guest here. The franchise. Juppies, man.
Hello, J-Mac. Damon.
Yes.
I'm almost more excited about the rival of the franchise, more so than the Melbourne Cup.
Love being on the show. Thank you. Thank you.
A little bit more emotion, please, from the franchise, but we'll get there. We'll really look to get him going.
Track from Playmaster. Shear is the widest with Ruben.
We might as well start with you, Dill. What are we doing? We're just one race.
Yep, just one race. Melbourne Cup tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Channel 10 this year. It's not on Channel 7, so make sure you're watching it on that. Plenty of content always from our providers. We're going to talk about Dano, Punting Form, the Insider as well, give our own thoughts and just preview the entire race.
Massive.
That's how I should have hosted to start. But anyway.
Fresh off a massive week as well, bear in mind. Derby Day, if you watched the show last week or read any of the content on the hub, more than likely would have had a fill-up. So some very good mail from Shane. The franchise obviously had a massive weekend as well, but we'll get to that a little bit. And Melbourne Cup.
In the chair, you're watching Betfair Live here, Dill.
Yeah, the market has been really good over the past couple of weeks. So the number one recommendation is just if you're not watching Betfair on the day, you're at a disadvantage because the market has been absolutely spot on across the carnival. And it's just a really good guide heading into the race.
Very wise from you. And Sugar Shane has had an absolute fill-up on Saturday.
44 units, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So massive. I think his ROI on the weekend was over 200% if you just followed him in and his staking strategy. So, yeah, Laid Shadow Hero. What else did he find off the top of your head?
Exceedance.
Yeah, Miami Bound in race 2. Yeah, a bunch of things that saluted well. So hopefully we can keep that form going this week on Melbourne Cup. And I reckon we start there. So, Dill, what's Shane and Punting Form on in the big one?
Yep, so low confidence because they're not too keen on too many of the international runners that are coming into the race. They've settled on a Dutch bet of Il Paradiso, Constantinople and Southern France. They like to follow our man Drew, the Prophets, as well, who's an international expert. And you can see his previews of all the international runners on the Betfair Hub as well. And just following Il Paradiso in for the Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Constantinople is another one that I'm particularly keen on. Obviously ran fourth in the Caulfield Cup. Was quite unlucky and had to come wide. And looking at Punting Form sectional database, actually ran the fastest last 200, which probably suggests that the step up to the 32 is something that should suit. It hasn't been out there before, but yeah, I'm actually quite keen on that. So I'm happy to see that Punting Form and the guys down there like it as well.
Interesting one where Glenn Boss was meant to take the ride, had the appeal. They didn't want to wait, so they've brought over the Magic Man, Joe Moreira, who hasn't had an overly great record in Australia in the Melbourne Cups as well, to be fair, despite how good he is in Hong Kong. So that'll be an interesting one with Glenn Boss knowing the race as well.
Yep.
$10, Betfair. So Constantinople looked like it was just going to keep tumbling and potentially jump favourite, which it still may. But Murder Glass is still favourite, 840, 860.
Yeah, I personally don't think you'd want to be betting anything like too short in a race like this. It's obviously a very hard race to pick. Anything under $10 is kind of nearly danger sides, I would have thought. But yeah, Murder Glass obviously won the Caulfield Cup and beat Constantinople, so it has to be respected. A lot of those Japanese horses are doing really well down here. What do you think about that?
Punting Form have provided their speed map for the race, have Constantinople and Murder Glace on pace, basically side by side. I think in-race tactics are going to play a big part, whether they're bunched up, throughout the whole 3,200, depends how the track's playing as well. It was obviously a soft 4 at the start on Saturday on Derby Day and got quickly downgraded to a soft 7, potentially a heavy 8 maybe in spots as well. Yeah. Dano thinks the track's going to play fairly for all runners throughout the day and it'll recover, but it'll be an interesting one to see throughout the day.
Yeah. And he's informed Damien Lane.
Yes,
I've seen him well.
Going for the first one to win all 4 in the first time ever, so he's got a very good chance.
Yeah, Dano's rated that $13, so if you're looking at that, it's probably under the odds, and you probably want to steer clear of it. But obviously, it has to be respected in the market, and it is something that could definitely win there. So yeah, what else? Do you want to go through some of Dano's ratings?
Yeah, we can grab his tip. Go on, Dill. Yep. On top from Dano. I can help you out.
Yep.
I'll help you out. He's going with Vow and Declare. So It's second bottom weight, which got the chockies last year with cross counter.
Yeah, that's where I like to look a lot of the time with Melbourne Cup. You want to have something that comes down in the weights. I mean, above all else, it's a handicap race. So when a horse can get in, that's actually a quality horse with low weight. I think you have to look at it.
And downdraft. As well for Dano, so splitting units across those two.
Yep.
There was a really interesting video of Craig Williams after the Caulfield Cup on Vow and Declare speaking to the owners. How confident he was in the horse, and it was the only horse he wanted to ride. I reckon a fair few people would have wanted Craig on their horse, so for his confidence to show that that was the only one that he wanted to ride, I think is a big tick.
I think another thing that to look at with this race is there's a lot of horses that are untested past 2,000, 2,400 metres. They only declare something that's won over 3,000 metres before. So it's going to probably have the trip. Whether or not it's good enough to win the race and if other horses improve is something that's yet to be determined. But you actually know the horse has been there before. So I think that also plays into Vow and Declare's favour.
Fair enough. Bet 13s, I think that's trading on the exchange. But going back to cross counter last year, that was smashed late, like consistent with what you were saying earlier, Dill. The last couple of minutes where there's going to be an unbelievable amount of money traded is going to be a real good indication of who can win and who can't, potentially, consistent with how everything's been going across spring.
Played with the weather as well. There was, if you remember, there was almost borderline floods early in the morning, and the market fluctuated quite quickly. So it's just another thing to keep an eye on as well. I think it's projected to be a little bit of rain throughout the day, but it shouldn't affect the track too much, like Dano projected as well.
Yep.
Enough of the experts. Let's get to the amateurs.
I reckon let's start with, you touched on cross counter and that one last year. Obviously picks up a heap of weight this year. Has to come in at like 47 kilos it'll ride with this year. So 57 kilos it'll ride with this year. So I know the insider's a little bit keen on it. I'm probably off it. I just don't think that with where it comes in weight wise this year, it can win. I think it's been handicapped out of it, and since Maccabi Diva, nothing's backed up. So I'm happy to look around that.
Yeah,
any thoughts?
It's traditionally very hard to go back to back, so I'm keen to avoid cross counter. Wouldn't be laying it at the $18 price. Around that mark currently on the exchange, but probably not one I'm looking to right now.
And then Prince of Iran obviously finished third last year and went on to win the Geelong Cup a couple of weeks ago. So it's going to run again. It's such a consistent horse. Any thoughts there or?
Nah, not overly. Walker on board, who's a good jockey, but the Geelong Cup heading into the Melbourne Cup, not the best form line for me. So happy to avoid that one as well. You had any thoughts there, mate?
No, $23. It's so hard, this race. There's so many good chances.
Yeah.
Finch, what do we think there? It's sort of 960, second, third in the market.
I'll let Al franchise take this first because I know that's what he's on. So I'll defer to.
Yeah, it's the one on top for me. Karen McAvoy has rode this race better than anybody in the past 3 years. He's won 2 of them, and I think there was a 7th in there as well. Chris Waller is absolutely airborne right now. He can't seem to lose a race. I sort of look at the SP profile of this race. Since 2000, there's only been 2 winners above the $20 mark, which right now, if you look at the exchange, that only leaves 7 runners left. And I'm not saying the likes of, a Southern France or a Raymond Tusk or a Mustagier can't win the race, but I just sort of respect the market's ability to price the horse on its true chance.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like not many people are talking about Finch. It's had 2 runs at Flemington last year. Basically came off the plane straight away and it ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup, which is pretty good. And it ran 2nd in its recent run as well. McAvoy on at around the $10, $11 mark. I'm very happy to be with it. Yeah,
I think it obviously ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup last year. Now it's had a whole year of Chris Waller under it. Who you'd think is obviously prepping the horse for this race, and look, it's Waller. So I think the ride with Kieran McAvoy picking that up too. He won the thing last year, so he should be able to get the horse in the right position. The main reason I think a lot of people aren't talking about it is obviously Murder Glass winning the Caulfield Cup and Constantinople being unlucky in that race. Probably they're looking around Finch, but I think it can definitely win, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did win Dill.
Yep. Punting Form have it projected just behind the leaders, Hunting Horn and Magic Wand as well. So they'll be in a good position on the final straight, and I'm expecting and hoping that it'll be too good for the rest.
We won't ask J-Mac who he's on because he's backed half the field, so it wouldn't get.
I probably will by the time this.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Raymond Tusk, Mac, at all?
Not really. One of our good friends
on to win a lot.
On to win plenty. I don't know how much we can divulge there,
but it has to be a chance. Run 4th in the Ebor, so there's another thing. You could talk about this race for hours. I think it's going to be impossible to pick the winner, but there's a heap of key chances. Mustagier as well, as Dill touched on. Anyone else you want to talk about, Dill?
Well, I guess the Murder Glace, the Japanese horse, it's probably been the one where we weren't too sure. It came out at 1 and Damien Lane on again. It's up in the weights for this race, 56 kilos, which, truthfully, it's still a Group 3 horse in Japan. It's come over here in a Group 1. So is it that good enough at that weight? We're not too sure, but I reckon it'll be pretty firm in the betting. I don't expect it to drift at all. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, I'd be interested past the $10. Yeah, but for me, Constantinople is probably where I'll look. Again, touching on the sectional data from Punting Form, last 200, I think it steps up. That's probably where I'll look.
I was probing people yesterday at a Betfair event. Peter Jones is normally my man that I just flock straight to. I realise the reason Pete is smiling just constantly more than any human being I know. So I reckon he hasn't had a losing day since probably he was 15 years old.
Always wins. Always
and he's not full of it either. He's just an absolute magician. He told me Twilight Payment. So as soon as I saw that, I just got straight on the exchange. He said it's 90 to 1. Of course it isn't. Pete probably told 1 or 2 people. It's into about 60s. So the steam is coming for this.
Big price.
And then after getting Pete's recommendation and getting involved, obviously.
Yep.
I've
always
tried
get set first, Mac. Always get
correct,
set first.
and then talk about it. After doing that, I've looked at the form lines, which is, a lot of these top chances, your cross counter, and a lot of these imports that are coming over from Ireland and England. Watching the St. Ledger, which is a pretty good form race, where I think cross counter was 4th, and the Twilight Payment was there, Latrobe was there. There's a bunch that were in the finish. The 2 most impressive horses that won and came second in that race haven't come across. But watching that, it looked like a race one at Warrnambool, like it was the most. Yeah, I can't compare that to how we do it over here. I'd rather go to Pioneer Park or Royal Fanny Bay and support Mildura. I'd rather get anywhere in Australia than go and watch the Irish St. Ledger, but just the way that they were coming home and the size of the field's quite small. But all those horses are pretty hard to split across that distance in Group 1 over there. So for that reason, and defying some of the stats you were saying about Ruffy's hardly winning, Latrobe and Twilight Payment, son of Aiden, Joseph O'Brien, who had Rekindling. I'm following some of his stuff. I can see a ton of money stacked on the exchange for Latrobe.
Yep.
And as you boys know, I like to follow where the steam is, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm sort of just playing, looking at the early market. That's what's piqued my interest. So
one favourite has won this race since 2006, and that was Fiorente.
Wow.
So good if you're keen to take on the favourite. It seems a good race to do so as well. It'll obviously be a big price, but it's a good sign if you want to take on the favourite.
Very sharp. The franchise is not disappointing you.
Can't miss. Is there any other races we want to talk about, boys?
Yeah, we've got 2 more Punting Form feature race reports. Obviously, Melbourne Cup's the feature, and the strong racing was on Saturday. But there is 2 other group races this week. Tomorrow. The first is race 1, which is a 2-year-old fillies race at low confidence from Punting Form. I think there's a bunch of horses that are first up here. They're suggesting low confidence Dutching bet on Thala with Damien Lane on board and Written to Score with Damien Oliver on board. They're just looking at the jockeys having to steer in this race, really. And the other one is race 6, so the race before the Cup, the Jim Beam Stakes. They're also suggesting a Dutch bet between Jamaican Rain and Sweet Scandal. Both of them are about $5 on Betfair, so nice little Dutch bet there. Only at slightly above the $2 mark, but they're very confident that one of those horses will win. So a little bit of value there.
Yeah, and I'd just say make sure you check out the Betfair Hub because there's so much content on there that we haven't spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Race Club. They've done a couple of tips for tomorrow at Flemington as well. Vince Accardi has given his daily sectionals, his RSPs as well for the day for the entire card. We've got our horse ratings model there as well. So there's plenty of content there to just chew on for the Melbourne Cup.
And Betfair Live deal.
Yes.
I think if anyone's using Betfair Live on the weekend, the market came for a lot of the winners. So if you're behind the wheel and have a laptop in front of you or have anything and you want to actually see what the money's coming for, it's always a great indication of what the pros, what the big syndicates want. Betfair Live's the place to start.
Correct. Exciting week, boys. We got them on Saturday and we'll hopefully keep out in front.
Right on, deal.
Thank you.